Okay, on the second part, we're gonna talk about the persistent. So again, this one is previously it were from with 7, but this time we want to put in this one in with 5. So at first, when we say persistent, so what do you think? What is it about? How? What do you think when we say like persistent? Storage. Right, so some ways we save or we restore the data. Right. And the reason why I put this one on with from with 7 to with 5 because this is the time you decide what kind of like database you want to use. Like later you want to say you want to use the core data, you want to use Parks, you want to use Firebase, or you want just save everything on to the local file, right? And similar to the one previously on the zip and nip thing. So also here now is for you to decide whether you want to go with the storyboard or you go with the zip and nip. Right. If you work on the zip and nip, so just you can split the work into 3 of you. One person working on this view, this view, this view. Another person working on this. So you do not step on your teammate, right? Okay, go back to this one, the persistence. So last time in week 3, we talked a little bit about Firebase, right? So we use Firebase to create a real-time chat app, and then within the same week we have another instruction for the Parks as well. So I don't know if anyone still using Park nowadays. Firebase is going so strong, people move into Firebase. Parks no longer get support from Facebook, so it's already like obsolete. Some community they still building. They get the shortcode and then they build their own Park server. They deploy the Park server on Heroku, something like that. But, most people are now using the Firebase. So today we want to talk more a little bit on another ways for us to save and to load the data. So something we want to cover today on the user default. We want to be familiar with you since the very first day on the pre-work assignment. We only use the user default, right? We use NS. Sorry, no more NS. The user default to store the user preference, like the tip calculator number, and we will talk about the file system and the RAM. Okay. So first thing first on the user default. So at the definition here is equal design for the user preference, and the name implied. So it says user default is so mainly to design for you to save some just small amount of data. It's not designed for you like you say like few megabyte of data or something. Just for user preference. For example, a user go to setting page and then they like the Yep app on the setting page. Some of you use the user default to store the user preference, right? Like people select their filter and then they select what kind of the distance, what kind of category they want. You save that one. Right? But not so on the time we have some user preference. You can also use that one to store some like not a small chunk of data. Um, for example, in the Twitter app, we use the user default to store the current user. Right? When you log into that, when you open the app and then when you check the current user is saved in the user default, you find that one. So you move the user directly from into the home timeline view controller. You don't ask the user to log in again. So that's some other use case for the user default as well. And it actually this one it write the data onto a file, and the file is the playlist file, so the property list file, so similar to the info.playlist. So it will have the key, and then it have the value on the playlist file. So if you still remember some some boolean file like this one, so like this one, the info the boolean, we had the key and then it had the value like this. And anyone have like the problem with the user default before, like you want to save the setting into the user default? Does this work? At that time you had the setting in like an array of dictionary or whatever, your filter. When you go to the filter page of the Yep app, you switch on, switch off some of the thing, you have bunch of data inside of dictionary or something. It's like an array of dictionary. Right? Is it possible to save that one? I know, right? The reason is that the user default only allow you to save the following data type. So we have the data, the string, number, day, array, and then the dictionary. So anything other than this one, we need to convert that one to the data. So this is how we convert the thing into the data. So we have here the ns key archiver. We say archive data with root object, and then, for example, in this case, I want to say this one. This one, remember on the week one assignment, the Flick app, we have a movie like an array of dictionary, and we want to say that one. So I convert this one into the data type, and then now I have the default set object, and then I can set the data, because now this one is the type, the data. Before it's like array of dictionary, I cannot say that one, so I need to convert this one into the data type, and then now I can save it. So I can save this one into it, and I can set the key for it. Later I can retrieve using the same key. I can retrieve the data, right? And what else do we have here? So it says it's good practice to keep the user default under 1 megabyte. So don't try to save. It's not a good place to say like you download the image and you save the image into to the user default or something. You can convert this one into the data type, and then you save this one into user default. But then again, this one is because it's saved on a file, and when something on a file is read and write this one, so if you use the I/O, it read the one on the disk, or either on the disk or on the memory. But that one it takes a lot of time. So it's a rule of thumb that to keep the user default like under a megabyte, just to say just a small amount of data. So far, yeah, I don't think we have something like very big. We want to save bigger than a megabyte. We save the user preference, like the setting, the filter page, or the current user. That one just one chunk of data, few bytes. Okay, let's do some demo to see how we use this one. So what do we have here? Remember this one, the Flick app. Okay, so let me run it again and see. Okay, so we had the Flick app again. It has something like this. Still remember this? Right. And then now, what happens if like we don't have the internet? What happens like if the Wi-Fi gone? So remember, before we have this fetch movie function, and then within this one, if the network error, meaning it returns something like the error. So if the error is not new, meaning something error, and we just say, hey, it's network error. Right. Let me. How do I? This only the S code too long, is it? Okay. Here. So I say I turn off the Wi-Fi. Right, and I run again. Yeah, I didn't do anything. It just say network error, right? It should not return anything. It get the network error. And also notice here I say I disable the cache. So for the cache policy here, I just say reload, ignoring the local cache data. So whatever in the cache, so I just discard that one. I just want to get the latest one from the network. Don't want to use the cache. I say here network error, and then in this case it didn't load anything, right? Nothing for me, right? And then for the better user experience, sometimes like you see, for example, Facebook. Sometimes if you don't have uh, the internet, you still can see some of the posts, right? That's one how they save the data. Where do they save the data? This is one of the ways. So for example, I show you now for to use the user default to save that one. Right. So go back to this one. We see we need to convert this one into the data type, right? We use the NS key archiver, and we archive the data to the movie. So the movie type here, what do we have? I have the movie class here. So within this movie class, we have so this is just the initializer with the movie. When in it, I set the title, I set overview, and then we had the image. So I set image, just something like the movie class. So here I on this movies view controller, I set just one an array of movies, and of course I cannot save this one into the NS user default. Cannot save directly, right? You need to convert this one. So here I have I create another class called data manager. So let's take a look. Let's see this one. Yeah, the data manager. So let's take a look on this data manager. So first one, I want to save to the user default. Right, so on my movie view controller, so when I fetch the data, so in this case, if the error is not new, when it run to here, if the data is not new, so I will save the data. Okay. What is the type here? So within this data manager, I have like few types. I want to save. I will demo right to save with the user default, to save with the file, and save with the realm. So one by one. On the movie view controller, for now I save. I use user default. I want to use the user default, and here after I get the movie, so whatever the response from the API, and then I change this one to the array of movie, and now I say, hey, I want to save the data. So what do we have here? Say data. So this is just a switch case. So check what kind of the type here. So the first we looking for the say to the user default first. So on this one to the user default. So remember we have how to instantiate the user default. We get the user default standard, right? And then we want to set something here, and then the last one is say synchronize. So again, in this case, because the movies here is like the array of movie, we cannot save directly. So we need to convert this one into the data, and we have something NS key archival, and we archive this one into the data. So at this moment, the type should be the data type. This one, so it return the data, right? It return the data here, and then we can set the data for this key. So I say I want to set that one into this key. And the last one, synchronize what? If you notice, sometimes if you don't call the synchronize, it still work, right? Anyone like try or you forget to put the default as synchronize, but it still work. So synchronize is just like you force that one to write immediately. You ask the user, hey, write that one to the file now. If you don't call that one, if you try to write that one later, sometimes we don't know when we will write into the file. But when we call the synchronize, we force that one to write away, to write whatever the content of the default into the file right away. So it's better to just call synchronize to force that one, because you don't know. For example, you doing something and you didn't save it. You don't know when the iOS will save your user default. So it's better to force that one to save. Okay. So in this one we say that one to user default, right? And then another way around, when you want to get it back, in this case we just again we get the default, the user default dot standard, and then we get this item back, and the type, this one is the data, right? That's why I can cast this one into the type data. And then before we have the NS key archiver, now we have NS key unarchiver. So before we archive it, now we unarchive it, and then say unarchive object. And then before I know that this one is the type, this one is the array of movies, so that's why I can cast this one back to the array of movie. Okay, right. So I go back to this movie view controller. So here, what happened when we have the network error? We want to load the data from the user default, right? So I uncomment it block. So if network error, so I load the information from the user default, and then after I load that one, I just say, hey, reload the table view. Why I put this one into the dispatch queue? Because I don't know how long they take for this one to load the data from this, so I just put it there. So I want this one to run asynchronously. So when you say dispatch queue and then main async, so it will execute this code of this block of code asynchronously, meaning it will not block your main thread, your main UI. So on your main UI, you can like swipe up, swipe down, or whatever. It's not freeze your view. Whenever it's finished, then it should run this one. So I just uncomment this one, and now is it? I'm still, yeah, I still have no Wi-Fi, right? So if I run again, and then now, yeah, see. So it say, hey, I got a network error, but I load the data from the user default. Before I say that one before, now even I don't have. Now you can like display the thing like network error here. To indicate the user that, hey, you got the network connection, the connection error, connection problem, but I still have the data I saved before, so just display the data for you. It's better than nothing, right? So in the case like we got the connection problem, we still have able to use the user default too. But because we don't have the connection, that's why you cannot load the image, right? Just have something like this. Okay, so that's first one. Oh, let me turn on again. And then it say here to be able to say the custom class into the user default. The class must be inherit from NS object and NS coding. So with NS object and NS coding, then you can call the NS key archive and NS unkey archive. You go back to this one on the movie. Here I inherit that one from the NS object and NS coding. With this one, only with this one we are able to do the thing like NS key archive. Okay, never mind about this one. Okay, so just some of the snippet for the code. So again, we had the save to user default and the load from the user default. I should remove the NS were before. After it change to Swift 3, no more NS stuff. So okay. Right, so again, some good practice for using the user default. So just for example, in this case, we save the recent movies. We get some recent movie, and we can save the information into the NS user default. Okay, the second one we talk about the file I/O. For this one, I would like to introduce one concept about the sandbox. Anyone know about sandbox? Like this one, we had the sandbox. So sandbox is one of the security feature from Apple. So your app only able to access the data within your sandbox. So like sandbox is like the storage that the iOS allocate for you, and everything of your app should just stay within that sandbox. Your sandbox can grow bigger and bigger. So like I said, there's no limit for the sandbox. It's just limited by the storage of your device, but your app cannot access the data outside this sandbox. For example, you have your app like this, and then you save the image, or you download um, the music from the internet. You put that one, so you put everything inside the document. So your app storage will be bigger, getting bigger and bigger, right? Like your app can be up to like 5 or 10 GB. So your sandbox will grow bigger, but you cannot access to the next sandbox. So we have another sandbox for another app right here. So your app cannot talk to this app, cannot access to the data of this app. So that's one that's one is sandbox. So again, each app is just have the access to the data within its whole area, within its sandbox. It cannot access to another one. It's not like on Windows you have you within this folder you can access to everywhere, right? In this case for the iOS, you just able to access into this one. And within this sandbox, what do we have here? We have the bundle container. So with this one, when you build your app, this one is when you compile your app, you create this one the .app file. So that's one the execution code for your app, and then we have the data container. Within this one, we have three library: the document, the library, and the temp. And then if your app using some iCloud features, we have another folder called iCloud container here. So here is some basic some rule of thumb where to save the data. So on the document, so again we have like the document, the library, and temp, right? So all the user data should go to this one. All the user data go to the document folder, and all the non-user data. So what is the non-user data? So whatever for the iOS, whatever for the system. So like the cache is managed by the iOS. So iOS the operating system. So whatever is managed, just put the thing into the library. We don't want to touch on the library. Whatever you want to save, just use on the document folder. And then earlier we said that we have the user default is saved onto a file, right? Where saved. So actually the user default is saved. That's one is the user default is managed by OS, right? You don't specify where the location. Say, hey, I want to save this user default. Then you will save it into this folder, library, preference, and then in folder, blah blah blah. Later I will show you how to open that folder and look at the file to see if it's actually saved there. Right, and okay, so again for the user, we should only access to the document directory. So don't touch all the directory around. So there are two ways to get the path of the document directory. So in the first one, we get the NS search path for directory in domain, and then you put the thing here. So 0 here means it will return a document path. So multiple paths there, but in this case, we know that only have one document folder, one document directory. So you get the first one. So you get 0 here. Or this is the second way to get the access to that document path. So let me just just copy this one, and then I put it here and see. Okay. Oh, actually, I only have here. Okay, let's try to print the document directory. That one is actually the URL. So we run this one and see. This is the second way, right? This one we get the NS file manager. So that is the second way, and then it print here the document directory URL. So it blah 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 something like this. And, if I want to access to this, let me copy this one. I open the folder and I press Command Shift G, so it will open this go to for you, and then I just paste in that. Let me delete the document, so I want to go. Okay, so now this is the very long string here, is like your app ID. If when you download some app on your device, every app will have an app ID like this one, and that string, I don't know, if you just look at that string, I don't know how do you identify that one is which one is which one. But in this case, because we know that hey, this one is it created application like this, so we we, we know where to move to them. So again, we have the document, the library, and then the thing. So as we said earlier, so the within the library, we had a cache here, we had a cookie here, and we have the preference here. So if we go to the preference, you see we had a build file here, right? And then let's take a look on this. What do we have? I open this one with the Sublime. It's the binary file, right? So because we save everything with the data type, data is basically binary. So we open with this one, you cannot see anything. Right. Okay, that just to show you how to open the document folder and where the file is saved. But now what we want to do is to view the file. So let me change this one to file. So again, that one is the defined in the data manager. So I have the user default file in VM here. So now we change to file. So take a look on this one. We have again we have similar thing. We have the save to file, and we had the load from file. So the first thing on the save to file. So for the NS-Key archiver, it has one nice feature that it's not only save this. It's not only convert this item into the data, but it have the second parameter. Say, hey, I want to save that one directly to the file. Earlier we only have like NS-Key archiver and then archive data with root object, and then it return a data. But in this case, I say, hey, you return the data and then save that data into file for me. So okay, I save that one. So here I get the document path, right? And then for the document path, I add this one. So I say, hey, I want to save to this file. The file will be data.archive. Right, so back to this one, let's go take a look on the document. So let me delete everything inside this, and we have that's one save to file, and then we had a load from file. So again, we have the unarchiver with file. So meaning it will automatically open the file, read everything, all the content of that file, and then convert that one back to this for you. So very nice feature from NS-Key archiver and NS unarchiver. So just one line of code, you can open the file, save the file, or open the files, write it into the file, close the file. Right. Let me run again, and it still says okay. So you take a look on this, it's still empty, right? And then here after we run, okay, so here it says save to file, and then it's actually create a new file here. Right, let's open this one, and then as you expected, so that one is binary file as well, so you don't see the text there. You don't see any text there, right? And then similar to before, if I turn off the Wi-Fi and then I run again, I should see the network error, but it still can load the data from the file. Right. Okay, say here we got the network error, but it loaded the data from the file, so same thing. Right. So the file and the NS, the user default is basically quite similar. Right. One thing is that the user default is managed by the iOS, and it will save the file into just one specific location. For the data file, you can manage it on your own, and then you can create many files as you want, as many as you want. Like for example, you want to save the recent movie in this file. You say the top rated movie in this file or something. Then you create a multiple files. For the user default, because we had the key, so you don't need to create so many files. You just had the key and then the value for that, right? Okay, so that's one for the file. Oh, I open it again. Turn on the Wi-Fi again. And so we just got a quick introduction on the user default and the file system, right? That's just some two which way for you to use the if you want to save something very quick in case of like you want to save a piece of data and then you got the network error or whatever, then you can save the data on. This is some of the function to get the document directory. Okay. Use it. Okay. And then one other thing, like for some other classes, it had a built-in file helper. For example, the NS array. If you have something, so only the type of the NS array, so you can say, hey, this one dot write to file. So it have some built-in function like that one. So just call that one, it will directly write the thing into the file for you. If you don't want to do it, just do like we did here for the save data. So just a kind of object. So you say you convert everything into the data type and then you save to the file. Okay, that's the quick way, and then some modern ways. So it's word park. So I should change this one already. So no more box now. Firebase. So we talk about Firebase during the lab. Anyone plan to use Firebase for your project? I think most of the group will be using the Firebase. That's one very it got a very good support from Google and a strong community on that one as well. So easy to get help from other people. This one just quick one to show you on the Realm stuff. I have here. So why this? What is Realm? Anyone heard about this one before? Right. So database platform for the mobile. So again, it's for mobile. It's like something like Parks or like the Firebase. Just we introduce for you on this one. So for the database, so it have like the Object-C, the script, Xamarin. Anyone use Xamarin before? Xamarin is to use this one. You .NET to write the Xcode project. And we had some demo, some installation here. So if you go through this installation, we it had the instruction how to install that one for the Object-C. We want just scroll down. Just scroll down here and we have how do we install the thing into our project. So basically it's same thing. We need to install some bot. So the bot is okay here. So we need to install this bot, the Realm Swift. And then within your project, you just import one Realm Swift, and you can use that. Okay, take a look on this one. What do we have? So go to the movies view controller. So now we have we change this one to the fetching type is the I change the type to Realm, right? So now we want to save this one onto the Realm and then read that one from Realm as well. Do we have the next one? Okay, so we go back to manager, and then let's run this. Oh, we didn't build this one. Building the app. Never mind. Just let me explain a little bit on this code. So we had the save to RAM and we had the load from RAM here. So on the first one to save to RAM, so we try to get the default RAM. So very easy, just simple lines of code. You can create a database, and then that database will be saved the data on your local uh, file system. So here we get the RAM, and then we say, hey, I want to write this one into the RAM, the default RAM. And before to do that, whatever the old data, just delete that one. And for every, it has some uh, some function like write and then delete and then add something like this. So you just call the RAM and you add all the thing into the RAM. Run. Okay, so now it run. It says that I already saved the data into the RAM, and is okay. It has here the path for the RAM path. So again, while it save this one into a file. So I don't know, you noticed before we only have one file, and now it's create a bunch of other files. So after that one, it should create a RAM. So basically a database on your local device, and then it have this. If you want to take a look on what it is, and you can install something called the RAM browser. So it's basically this one. Close this, I'll open this one again. So you just open the RAM file. Okay, so if you install the RAM browser, so it's much better now. So you can see here what is the model you have, the movie model, and you had 20 items. And within this one, we had the title and the title string, we had the overview string, and then the poster URL string. It's much better than when you save into a file and then you save that one in or into the user default. It's a binary file and then you cannot read anything. Right? But if you use the RAM, then you had the data structure here. We have like the model, your movie model. Within this model, we have some property called title, the overview, and then poster URL string. Right? And with this, we can take a look on how your data look like, and what else from RAM. So that one, first one we save from RAM, and the second one we load from RAM. So also very quick one. So you get here this one, you get the default RAM, and you say, hey, I want to get the object. This one, what is the object? So the object is the type of movie, and then I just say, hey, I want to get the object. So where the RAM stuff? Okay, like similar to that, how do you want to get the data? So you get the default RAM, and then you get the object, and then the class name, and then you say cell, and then you can get the object. But the good thing from RAM is that because I call this one a database because it can help you to filter out the things or some other things. So if you go down here on the query stuff, so it has some way. How do you want to filter the data, or how do you want to select the data? So anyone work with like the SQL before? Like you know from SQL you have some select something and then where something from something where select something from something where. In that where you had the condition, right? For the condition you want to filter the data. For example, in this case you save bunch of data and you want to filter. You want to get just few data. So for example, take some look on the example from RAM documentation. For example, here you will say, hey, I want to filter the dog with the color is 10 and then the name is begin with B. And you just put everything within this string like this, and it's like similar to SQL. You just put the condition there and then it can filter. Right. For example, in this case, let me disable Let me turn off the Wi-Fi. We refresh this one again. What does it say? So we had the network error and it low from RAM, right? What if now I want to filter, and okay, so we had the filter here to the string here. The second one is I don't know, just remove it. I don't need it. What do we want to filter here? Oh, it's look like a new RAM is required. It's required. Never mind. We will end it. Something like that. Okay. Oh no, I'm missing this one. For example, here I say I want to filter the movie with the title, and what that begin with. And I say, for example, I want to filter the title with it begin with the L, something like that. Okay, and then if I run again, oh, it's crashed, something wrong. Let me go back here and then load from VM. Did I disable them? Okay, I disable that one and I filter. Filter, and then we want the predicate format. This is the format. And new. Okay. Fix it. It had two arguments, two parameters. Still crash. What is the problem? Scroll up and see. Okay, so we got the network error, and then property title not found. Okay, sorry, a typo. Title. Okay, so it say the title not found in the object of Thai movie. So we have here the three property, right? Title, overview, and string. I want to filter out the title. We start with an L. So it say low from RAM, and then here it say it just filter out from it. Right. Earlier, if you want to use the, for example, you use the U34 or you use the file system, and you need to read everything and then you filter out yourself. Right. But in this case, like you have your database like 1,000 lines. You don't want to read everything. You just want to read few things, like similar to what you do with the SQL before. Right. And on this one, it have some other example how you can do the filter. So for example, you can do the comparison. You can combine multiple conditions, or this one also have the sorting feature. So like if you get the data and then you sort, here you say, hey, I want to filter this one, and I sorted this one by name. This one it didn't sort anything, right? It just displays all the thing in the database, just like this. What if like you want to sort for the title, for example, and you can do the same thing. So that's why RAM is like better for the database management. Obviously better than if you save something to the file, or you save something onto the user default. But it's not like, it's more on the local. So you want to say something on your local, you don't want to work with the server, with the server like the Firebase, then you can run on from the server, and then you can use the RAM on the local to save the data just temporarily on the local. And for the data on the Firebase, you can run this one between like multiple device. For example, you have multiple device, you log in on this device, you log in on that device, you should have the same content, right? And then in those the case, you should use the server side database, something like Firebase. Reverse class, we also have some groups that they build the backend, the database on their own. So they build their database, they wrote their own API as well. So because within the team they have someone very strong on the backend already, so they can do that. But if you don't quite strong about that one, so never mind, just go ahead. So I think though with the Realm or with the Firebase, that's enough for us to build within the scope of the final project. Okay, so again, to summarize what we learned today, so the first thing is custom view, and the second thing is the custom, not the custom, sorry, the persistent. So this should be the good time for you to determine which one you should use, right, on your database, which one you want to use. Either you use Firebase or you use Parks or you use. I didn't talk about core data. Core data is were used a lot before with the Objective-C. A lot of people using core data. Just core data is the data management from Able. It only have inside this one. So remember when you create a new project, it also asks for you if you want to use the core data, right? If I create a new project here and I say this, see this one, if I check on this one, it will auto generate a bunch of code for the core data, but I don't know, it's like too heavy and too much for what you need. So Realm is which one very simple one, right? Just fill lots of code and then you can set up your stuff, and then Firebase also good. So those the things. So from past few classes, I saw most of the people using those things. So we'll a little bit more focus on those things this time. Right. So you decide what you want to use for your database, and then how you want to do for your